All right. What's going on, Nuclear Dad Gang? This is episode 2. We're getting the ball rolling with a little bit of James Brown. This is a man's world. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that you don't really hear about. Testosterone. We all know it. We all know we need it. We love it. It's what makes us men. But there is some staggering statistics that say that the average American male has less testosterone than his father, and that our fathers had less testosterone than our grandfathers, and our grandfathers had less testosterone than our great-grandfathers, and so on and so forth. And the question you may be asking yourself is, well, how did it get like this? And I don't know. I'm just a man living in a man's world, but as the Godfather of Soul, Godfather of Funk, James Brown said, it would be nothing without a woman or a girl. So, as a man living in this man's world, I got my woman, I got my girl, but I'm wondering, is my testosterone low? You may be wondering the same thing. Nobody talks about this stuff. And it's up to us men, us manly men, to get our testosterone in check. How do we do that, might you ask? There are all kinds of treatments and therapies and remedies and old wives' tales and all of that good stuff to help us boost this thing back up. So without further ado, now that we have the intro out of the way and you know what the show is going to be about, you can choose to listen or not listen. But that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about testosterone, how to keep your manly man parts manning, and keep your lady satisfied, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself strong as we age, because we are aging, right? Only thing guaranteed in life is taxes and death. And since you can't pay taxes with testosterone and you can't stop death from knocking on your door eventually, you may as well enjoy this ride. Keep yourself strong. Keep yourself manly. Keep yourself up to par, up to speed with these young Thundercats. They're trying to steal our women's. No. But the young guys are going after the older ladies, and the older ladies going after the young guys. That is a fact. It's always been a fact. But, this show is about us married men, us fathers. And if you have kids, you got young kids, you got to keep up with them. And they say women reach their intimate peaks the closer they get to 40s and 50s. And men seemingly decline. Now, that doesn't mean that, when you hit 40, you can't have a kid, because my father was in his 40s when he had me. Doesn't mean you can't have a kid when you're in your 50s, right? For women, it's a different story. Geriatric pregnancy is a real thing, but we're not talking about estrogen. We're talking about testosterone, right? How to keep those levels up, how to keep you manly. So let's throw in some more music, maybe some more James Brown. Let's see what we got in the mix. Let's stay tuned. We're going to get some music and we're going to get into the topic. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19, 2022. James Brown, the big payback, because it's time for us fellas to pay it back. We're gonna get right, we're gonna get manly, because Because for too long, fellas, too long, they have told us about toxic masculinity. You can't be a man. And if I can't be a man, I don't want to be a part of anything moving. Oh, I don't know if you got did my mic pick up my stomach growling? I'm hungry. My wife's up there cooking. Thank God for her. And I do most of the cooking in my house because I love to cook. My father was a cook, and that is how I hold on to his memory. I get in that kitchen and I go crazy, like James Brown said. I don't know karate, but I know crazy. But yeah, wife's up there cooking food. I'm hungry. I'm getting off topic. The big payback. We're gonna pay it back. Everybody that said you can't be a man, it's dangerous. Men are dangerous. Listen, we are dangerous. You're listening to this? You are. This is a dangerous podcast. You know why? Because we are talking about men stuff, right? We're talking about getting our hands dirty, breaking out those power tools, fixing some stuff, getting a sledgehammer, demoing a wall. We're talking about all things man related, all things dad related. And that doesn't just equate to being Mr. Fix-It, washing the car, detailing the car. That could mean whatever manhood means to you, right? Like if you like a clean house and your wife has a crazy work schedule, you're not afforded the luxury of her staying at home and keeping the house while you go out and make the bacon and she cooks it. If you do laundry, cool. No shade. No slight against your manhood. If you garden, cool. No shade. No slight against your manhood. If you vacuum, cool. But you can still be a man and do all of these things because times have changed, right? This is not the old West where the women are home exclusively with the babies. We talked about that last episode. Women work too, and I'm cool with that. You go out and make your money, mama. I'm gonna go make mine too, and we're gonna meet in the middle, and we're gonna split this money up, and we're gonna save, and we're gonna invest, and we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna treat our family, we're gonna treat ourselves, we're gonna go out and have fun and have dates, and we're gonna do it in style, fellas. You're gonna put that suit on, you're gonna throw on that fedora and cock it to the side, maybe get you some cool shades, a nice watch, get your cologning, make sure you smell good, make sure you look good, because when you smell good and you look good, you feel good, right? I know I do. When I throw on my duds and I get all spiffy. Listen, I was at an event this past weekend with my wife's family. Her one of her aunties, her father's sister, had a retirement / birthday party, and her family is used to seeing me dressed up in suits, nice shirt, nice hat with a feather in it, old school style, right? That's how I roll. And one of her now mind you, we had a heat wave this weekend. It was hot. I don't want to say unseasonably, but it came out of nowhere. You know, one day it was like 70 degrees, then it shot up to 90 plus. So during this heat wave, we had this party, and one of my wife's cousins said, "Where's your hat? I'm used to seeing you with a hat and suit." I said, "Listen, it's hot. I sweat. Now, I do sweat. I'm a sweater. When I get hot and I start sweating, I don't stop. I got to get under some air, throw some cold water on my body." But I told her it's hot, and we didn't know if this place was going to have air conditioning. We had never been there. You would expect that it would have air conditioning, but I did not want to take any chances. And she told me, "The next time I see you, I expect to see you in a suit." So when you live up to a certain standard, people expect that from you. And it's cool to be manly. It's cool to walk into the room and be the best dressed gentleman there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because real men like to look good. Now, I'm not saying you spend as much time in the mirror as your wife, but yeah, make sure your hair looks good. You know, get a little shape up, get a haircut if you got to. Make sure your facial hair, your whiskers are trimmed. Nice little goatee, or if you're in Philly, you're rocking a big beard. Make sure that beard is nice and neat. Throw some beard oil on it, keep it shiny. whatever you got to do. Just make sure you look good. And that right there will boost your testosterone. You feel like a man walking out the door, stepping out your car, walking into a place, and oh man, it's all eyes on you. And if you were single, you're definitely gonna get some play from the ladies, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about married men, right? Because just like we like a little eye candy, little arm candy, ladies like the same thing. When you walk out the house and you go somewhere with your wife and you looking good and you smelling good and you stepping fresh, the kids call it big stepper. When you stepping fresh, you big stepper, your wife noticed the other women looking at you, and you know women want what other women have. And she can feel those eyes on you, fellas. And she gonna think, when we get home, I'm gonna break him off. I'm gonna give him a little treat, little slice of this pie. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna do something to your self-esteem. That's gonna boost your testosterone. That's gonna make you feel virile, right? Get that libido moving. That's the first step in getting that testosterone right. Make sure you look good. Make sure you dress the part. Dress for the occasion, whatever the occasion is. Now, if you're working on a construction site, I expect for you to have some steel toes, some nice work pants. They could be stained, because if you're working, you're not going to keep them clean all the time. Some of those stains ain't going to come out. You got some old plaster, some old paint, some dingy spots in it from, months and weeks of work. You got your shirt on, whatever it may be, uniform shirt, t-shirt, whatever, weather permitting. You may have on a vest. You got your hard hat. If you're in the corporate world, you either business casual, some nice slacks, some nice shoes, some Oxfords, nice shirt, suit jacket, blazer, whatever, sport coat. And if you are in the athletic industry, you may have on a hoodie. You may have on some Jordans, or some cross trainers, a nice pair of joggers. Whatever the case, dress the part, right? That's the first step, dressing the part. Now let's get on into some music. Let's see what we got in the mix. Stay tuned. Yes, that was a little The Village People. I know you're thinking, how did you go from James Brown to The Village People? This song is called Macho Man. Now, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you will not hear the music, but I will still announce the music to give you a feel of the show and the theme that we're going with each episode, and a little more incentive to maybe come on over to Spotify and check it out. Look at it on some of these other platforms, Google Podcasts. What else we got up here? We got Google Podcasts. There's a couple things. We got Google Podcasts, Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Anchor. There's a couple more. I'll write a list down and I'll announce them on the next show or two after I get everything set up and finalized. But anywho, testosterone. So let's get into some stats. I wanna talk about signs of low testosterone. What are the disadvantages of having higher testosterone levels? The benefits of having normal testosterone levels, and the symptoms and signs of low testosterone levels, right? So let's see. Let's just read it off for those who are just coming in who may not be as educated. So, what is testosterone? And this is from medicinenet.com. Testosterone is considered to be the male hormone that is produced by men in the testes. Although women's ovaries produce some testosterone, the hormone is produced in much higher concentrations in men, and it is responsible for many of the secondary sex characteristics seen in men, such as a deeper voice, hair on the chest, in addition to contributing to a healthy libido, build muscle mass, and maintaining energy levels. The problems associated with high testosterone levels are infrequent and rare in middle-aged and elderly men who are not receiving testosterone or other steroid treatments. When the testosterone levels become out of balance, it usually becomes too low rather than too elevated. Now, what are some of the signs and symptoms of low testosterone levels in men? The common out-of-balance testosterone levels are found to be on the low side of normal. This occurs because a male's highest testosterone level usually peaks at about age 20, and then it decreases slowly with age. Now think about the stuff you did late teens, early 20s. You were a daredevil. Most of us were. Now, that doesn't mean you were jumping out of planes or parkouring off of skyscrapers, but you could have been in some dangerous situations. You could have been hanging out with the wrong crowd. You could have been doing things that you would not even think about doing in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Some men still are. Some men have, they will be what you would call adrenaline junkies, but that could possibly be a sign of high testosterone. Now, where were we? It peaks at about age 20 and then it slowly decreases with age. It has been suggested that a 1% decrease in testosterone level per year is not unusual for middle-aged men, 30 to 50 years old. Whoa, I'm middle-aged? While this decrease may not be noticeable in some men, others may experience significant changes starting in their middle-aged years or more commonly at age 60 and above. The drop in testosterone levels is something termed hypogonadism, male menopause, or andropause. I'm going to say that slow. Hypogonadism. Whoa. Low testosterone levels may result in a decline in physical energy, strength, stamina, and diminished mental aggressiveness. Additional symptoms in low testosterone men may include the following: more aches and pains in the bones and joints than normal, a decline in libido and erections, weight gain, and osteoporosis. Now, what did we just talk about? Keeping your energy up, keeping your stamina up, being able to keep up with the young Thundercats. So if you have been feeling aches and pains, but they say, oh, you feel all the stuff you did when you were a kid, when you hit about 30, that means your testosterone levels are going down. If you're feeling more aches and pains, because when you were younger, you fall, get a scrape, get a sprain, a strain, you're out of commission for a couple hours, maybe a day. Next day, you're back at it. As we age, as we get older, not so much. Now, what are normal or average testosterone levels in men? In general, the normal range in males is about 270 to 1070 nanograms per deciliter, with an average level of 679 nanograms per deciliter. A normal male testosterone level peaks at about age 20, we said that, and then slowly declines, we said that. Testosterone levels above or below the normal range are considered by many to be out of balance. Moreover, some researchers suggest that the healthiest men have testosterone levels between 400 and 600 nanograms per deciliter. Now, what are the benefits of having higher than normal testosterone levels? It normalizes blood pressure and it lowers the likelihood of obesity and heart attacks. And what are the disadvantages of having higher than average testosterone levels? Examples of drawbacks or disadvantages of men having higher than average testosterone levels include the following. Men tend to consume more alcoholic beverages. Men are more likely to smoke. Men are more likely to get injured. According to some researchers, the higher the testosterone level, the more likely men are to participate in risk-taking behavior, sexual, injury risk, and even criminal activities. Now think about that. They just said, now you get a pass here, fellas. They just said if you're an alcoholic, you may have higher than normal testosterone level. So, all my fellas out there that can't put that bottle down, hey man, you just may be a manly man. Who knows? All right, let's see what else we got. And then they talk about treatments, injections, patches, topical creams and gels. But I'm gonna give you some other treatments that can avoid some side effects. Because it says, why should men not use testosterone therapy? Not all men may be candidates for this type of treatment. Testosterone should not be used in men with suspected or known prostate cancer or breast cancer. Moreover, testosterone may put a male that has kidney, liver, or heart problems at higher risk for complications from these diseases. Before testosterone therapy is initiated, it is very important to check with your doctor to determine what treatment, if any, is right for you. And this is true. Before you do anything, check with your doctor. How often should a man have his testosterone levels checked? So, how does one ensure that testosterone levels remain in balance? Some doctors suggest that monitoring testosterone levels every 5 years starting at age 35 is a reasonable strategy to follow. If the testosterone level falls too low, or if the individual has signs and symptoms of low testosterone levels described above, testosterone therapy can be considered. However, once testosterone therapy is initiated, testosterone levels should be closely monitored to make sure that testosterone levels does not become too high, as this may cause stress on the individual, and high testosterone levels may result in some of the negative problems described previously. So, let's see what we can find on naturally increasing your testosterone. And I'm just, I got some things pulled up. I tried to be as thorough in my research as possible, because I only have about an hour and a half to do this, because I still have to get back to my dad stuff, because I am a dad. I'm a nuclear dad, just like you, buddy. We're in this together. So, we got to fit stuff in when, where, and how we can. Now, thankfully, my wife is home. She's not working tonight. She can handle the babies. I can dip down in my little bat cave, knock some stuff out, get back up in the mix, eat dinner, give them a bath, get them ready for bed. Her and I can spend some time together. I can push this out to the social networks. Everybody will have a good night. But we're going to take a little music break. Let's see what else I can find in the stack. And you guys stay tuned. I'm going to come back with some treatments, some natural treatments for low testosterone. The Nuclear Dad Blogcast is sponsored by Family Man Magazine and thenucleardad.com. Family Man Magazine will be available this Father's Day, June 19, 2022. All right, that was a little MJ, little Michael Jackson, King of Pop. The man in the mirror. I'm talking to the man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. That's what we got to do, fellas. When you get a chance, take your shirt off, go stand in the mirror, and look at yourself naked. Do you like what you see? Some of us do, some of us don't. I'm not judging. I can make some improvements. I'm actually getting my my personal trainer's certification and my nutritional coaching and my health coaching certification, because I am a licensed massage therapist, but that can only go but so far. I can teach you how to massage your wife, which I will in the future, but I also want to give you some tips, some knowledge on increasing your health and lasting longer, not just in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom with your daily activities at work, with your kids, hanging out with your wife, going out dancing, and your feet aren't hurting after 20 minutes, right? This is all stuff that's due to low testosterone. Because when you were young, I look at my boys, they're 3 and 5. These guys jump and run all day long, and it brings back memories of me being able to do that. Now, I'm not in the best shape. I'm not in the shape I'd like to be. And I know some of you guys can agree with me. If you are in that place, you're nodding your head right now, like, man, EC, you are right, dude. I get winded walking up the steps sometimes. Your wife tells you to bring in the groceries and you're carrying all of that stuff up the steps. And if you're a manly man like me, you carry it all in one trip, right? Depending on your age, you might not be able to. Depending on what kind of work you've done over the years, you could have arthritis in your hands. You could have carpal tunnel, and you may have to do 1 or 2 bags at a time. Again, no judgment. But we're going to look at the man in the mirror, and we're going to make that change together. I'm going to start a group for us to be able to talk to each other and communicate and get some positive encouragement, some reinforcement, so we can be the best men that we could be for our families, but for ourselves first, right? Now, let's get into some more statistics and some more facts. So, let me see. So we talked about the side effects of low testosterone, and as you know, it declines as we get older just naturally. But some of the things that we can see in our lower testosterone levels, and now the young guys don't have as much naturally as we did, and we don't have as much as our fathers. You heard what I said in the beginning. So you see declining sex drive, a loss in semen, low energy, hair loss, weight gain, ED, erectile dysfunction, right? And that's not a place you want to be. You got a wife and she's like, hey, honey, kids are asleep, or the kids are at school, or they're off to college. We got the house to ourselves. We're empty nesters. Let's run around naked and frolic like bunny rabbits. You might not be able to, and maybe she doesn't know, because part of that also is not being as easily stimulated. Because, at one point, either you're still there or you were there, you see something and you want to do something. If you catch my drift, the little soldier stands at attention and he's ready to get busy. But sometimes that's not the case, depending on how low those testosterone levels. So here are the acceptable testosterone levels for men by age group. Children, the first couple of months, a male baby should produce 75 to 400 nanograms per deciliter. So that means little boys have a huge amount of testosterone, which is why they have the energy that they have. By the time he's 10 or 11, it should change from 7 to 130 nanograms per deciliter. So a newborn baby has roughly 10. Think about this, 10 to 40 times the amount of testosterone as a 10-year-old. Now, early teens between 12 and 13 years old, when those things start happening, you have between 7 and 800 nanograms per deciliter. By age 15 to 16, it should be between 100 and 1200. Late teens between 17 and 18 years old should have levels between 300 and 1200. And adults 19 years and older should have between 240 to 950. That's a lot of testosterone, gentlemen. And as we get older, we have less than the young guys, which is why you can see them out there playing basketball, baseball, soccer, football, tennis, golf, whatever they play, for hours on end. And you say, hey, it's time to come in for dinner. They'll fight you. Aren't you tired? Because looking at them will make you tired. You look at them playing, it makes you tired. But no, they don't want to come in the house. They don't want to stop playing. That's what boys do. They're at it 24/7 if you let them. Little break for food, maybe get something to drink, go use the men's room, the boys' room, and then they're back in the mix. And that's where we want to be. We want to be able to perform like we did when we were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That would be ideal for all of us, right? So the best time to test testosterone is in the morning between 7 and 10 a.m. because that's when your testosterone levels are at their highest. So, thinking about that, it would be a good idea to work out between 7 and 10 a.m. because that's when your levels are at their highest. Now, again, the therapy for testosterone is injections, patches, creams, gels, or pills, right? But if you don't want to do any of that stuff, regular exercise, again, between 7 and 10 a.m., because that's when your levels are at their highest. Exercising can prevent the loss of testosterone, or even better, raise it back to a more acceptable level. People who exercise regularly have higher testosterone levels than those who don't. Research shows that there is a significance between testosterone levels, among other functions, between men who exercise regularly and men who live a sedentary lifestyle. Weightlifting in particular is said to be the best type of exercise for boosting testosterone and addressing weight gain. Because we have muscle, guys. We got to keep that muscle up. You don't want them to atrophy. Changing your diet. Losing fat can improve your testosterone levels in adult males. If you suffer from testosterone deficiency, switching your diet to lose weight is a good option. Doctors recommend that you eat a good amount of protein. If coupled with high resistance training, you can also try eating more carbohydrates. Lowering your stress levels, another thing that can help. Stress can raise cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that can lower your testosterone if left elevated. You need to do what you can to lower your stress. This includes getting enough sleep and living a more balanced lifestyle. Sleep is a big thing. A lot of us are working and we're running, and we come in and we go to sleep late and we wake up early, especially if you're a high performance man. And by high performance, I mean at the job, putting in crazy hours, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah, the bank account looks good, but how long can you really keep that up? That is the question. Now, there are potential risks for testosterone replacement therapy. Men who could have certain types of cancer, we said that prostate, for example, should find alternative testosterone treatments. The same goes for those who have severe kidney, heart, or liver problems. We said that also. So check with your doc if you're thinking about getting into any of these therapies that aren't food, right? But again, you got to look at some of the things that can happen when your levels are low. One of them is a low sex drive, or difficulty with erection, which the two could go hand in hand sometimes, right? They're not mutually exclusive, but it could. Low semen volume, low semen volume. Oh, I don't even say that again. But if you are a young person and you and your wife are trying to have kids and you can't, it could be you, gentlemen. You may need to up the ante and look at that man in the mirror, like MJ said, and do some things. Do some things to get yourself back in the game. Get your little swimmer swimming, right? Another thing is hair loss. Testosterone plays a role in several body functions, including hair production. Balding is a natural part of aging for men. While these are an inherited component to balding, men with low testosterone may experience a loss of body and facial hair as well. Fatigue. People with low testosterone they've reported extreme fatigue and decreased energy levels. We said that. Loss of muscle mass. We just said that. Don't want it to atrophy. Increased body fat. Decreased muscle mass. Mood changes. Because testosterone influences many physical processes in the body, it can also influence mood and mental capacity. Research suggests that men with low testosterone are more likely to face depression, irritability, and lack of focus. As well, it can affect your memory, and it can decrease the size of your testes. You can have a low blood count. Doctors have linked low testosterone with an increased risk for anemia. So there are some things that, we can do. Now, we talked about diet and exercise, right? Let's see what we got. 7 simple, this is from Men's Journal, mensjournal.com. 7 simple exercises that can increase testosterone in men. Here we go. Let's get into it. The squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the row, the pull-up or chin-up, the overhead press, and the push-up. And let's say testosterone building. How does it work? While this workout lacks the flashiness of a body part split, the exercises selected here hit all major movement patterns: hip hinge, squat, vertical and horizontal push-up, a vertical and horizontal pull-up. It maximizes your time spent in the gym. Perform the workouts below 3 times per week on non-consecutive days, meaning you need time for sleep. Don't do it 3 days in a row. An added bonus of this training system is that it allows your weekends to be rest days. Now, each workout, change up the routine by doing a variation of deadlift or squat. For the deadlift, you can do the suitcase deadlift, and you can look all these things up. I'm not going to explain it to you. The suitcase deadlift, the sumo deadlift, the deficit deadlift, or the Romanian deadlift. That sounds like it might be rough. You may feel that. For the squats, you can do front squats, back squats, high or low bar, or safety bar squats. In both cases, make sure you adjust the weight accordingly. For the deadlift, 5 sets, 5 reps, rest 5 minutes. For the back squats, 5 sets, 5 reps, rest 5 minutes. For the bench press, 4 sets, 8 reps, rest 2 minutes. For the bent over row, 4 sets, 8 reps, rest 2 minutes. Shoulder press, 4 sets, 8 reps, rest 2 minutes. Chin up, 4 sets, 8 reps, rest 2 minutes. Push up, 4 sets, 10 reps, rest 2 minutes. Now, if you can't do all of those things straight out the gate, of course you can work your way up. Do 4 sets and 2 reps till you work your way to where you need to be. Then go beyond what's expected, right? Live up to the potential of being a man. Don't take the girly approach. No disrespect, women. Don't take the girly approach. Put some work in. And think about delayed gratification, right? You put your work in now, you'll see results later. But what you're aiming for is not to necessarily see the results right away, but to feel them. You will feel a difference. Give it time. Just give it some time. Now, let's talk about some foods. You want magnesium-rich foods, leafy greens, spinach, kale, collard greens. These things can help promote testosterone levels. If you're not a big green eater, you can get something called liquid chlorophyll. Throw it in your water, throw it in your juice, throw it in a smoothie, and get to work. You can also add ginger. They used to say oysters was an aphrodisiac. That's for the men. I don't think it does anything for women. I could be wrong, but oysters, pomegranate, leafy greens, fatty fish oils, onions, garlic, meat, seafood. All of these foods boost testosterone. Lean beef, chicken, fish, eggs. If you're more on the vegan side, tofu, nuts, seeds. All of these things have protein. Berries, cocoa products, right? Some fresh cocoa. Not a freaking Snickers or Mr. Goodbar or peanut chews. Not that stuff. Actual cocoa, raw cocoa. Grapes, honey, red meat, venison. Get a venison steak, make some venison burgers. It's getting warm, grilling season is here. And eat some beef a couple days a week. Now, of course, you can't eat it every day because it's going to sit in your colon. You got to make sure you have good digestion. You don't want to be all gassy and bloated. That's not going to be a fun time for you or your wife. But these are some things that you can do. These are some exercises. These are some foods to help you boost that up. Because again, we are not the men that our fathers were. And just think about, 100 years ago. What type of men were they? I heard a story that Teddy Roosevelt got shot in the chest while giving a speech. And he didn't stop the speech. I'm going to type this in. Teddy Roosevelt gets shot. Here we go. Right on Wikipedia. Let's see. During a campaign speech in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so it was a man named John Flamek Schrank. He was the perpetrator. So during a campaign speech, Roosevelt's campaign speech in Milwaukee, Schrank, who had been stalking him for weeks, shot Roosevelt once in the chest with a .38 caliber Colt police positive special revolver. He shot him in the chest, and he kept doing the speech. I ain't never been shot. I never say never. I don't want to get shot. But if I'm doing this podcast right now, somebody comes up, pop. Listen, podcast done. I got to go help myself. Baby, call the cops. Baby, call the police. Call the ambulance. I got to go to the hospital. I can't keep talking. But again, testosterone. That's what that man had. And there's a bunch of other things about Teddy Roosevelt I won't get into. Maybe I'll do a recap on a maybe if I do an update on the testosterone show. But you think about the men of the past and the things they did and the type of work they did and the type of lives they lived, and now we have this sedentary lifestyle. And not all of us, but some of us, some men are button pushers. No disrespect to them. You make it how you make it. But what I'm saying is we have to get to a point as men that we still feel like men even as we age and we see our sons and our grandsons becoming the men that we were. Because eventually they'll become the men that we are. We were once in their place, and we need to set an example for them to show them how to walk this walk and talk this talk. And I don't think it's too much to ask. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say, go for a walk, pick up something heavy and put it down and pick it up again and do that 20 times in a day. I don't think that's a hard ask. And if you do, you probably didn't make it this far in the podcast. Now, if you have physical restrictions, I understand. You do what you can with what you have. But as men, I'm asking you, I am begging you, I am imploring you. Be men. Let's do this thing right. Because our wives are looking at us and our sons are looking at us and our daughters are looking at us to know what type of man that they should look for as they get older. And our sons are looking at us to figure out what type of men they should be as they grow up. So we owe a service to them and the men that came before us and the men who will come after us and ourselves to be the men that we know we can be. So pick your head up, sir. Go find those gloves. Pick up something heavy, put it down. Go for a walk, go for a run, go for a bike ride. Get a burger, get a steak. Eat some salmon. Eat a salad. Treat yourself right. Love yourself. Because nobody else will. Stay focused. Stay positive. Remember the mission. Stay on course. Most of all, stay cool.